Gareth's Story Planet.
Hello and welcome back to Gareth's Story Planet. I hope you're okay. Now today I've gone on a bit of a road trip to Peterborough and I'm here outside the Key Theatre to find someone absolutely iconic within the picture book world. Who could it be? So this creative person has illustrated over 250 books with over 10 million book sales. They've written about pants and space and princesses. Their style, I feel, is absolutely iconic, colourful, bountiful, just like the clothes that my guest is wearing today. Can you give it up for Nick Sharratt, please? Hi, Nick.
Hello there.
Now, Nick Sharratt, that rhymes with parrot. You even put that on your website.
I do, because some people say Sharratt, which is absolutely fine. I quite like it to be called Sharratt sometimes. In Scotland, I was Nick Sharratt.
Ah, okay.
But I say Sharratt myself.
Sharratt, I like it, but it rhymes with parrot and carrot, and it's on his website in case you get confused. We're in a theatre today, which, for me being a theatre boy, is absolutely fundamentally wonderful. Why are we here for you?
We're here because I'm doing a draw-along here today. I'm doing a Right Royal draw-along. Actually, it's the last draw-along I'm going to be doing for a while, so it's a special occasion today, and we're
Amazing.
in Peterborough at the Key Theatre in Peterborough.
Absolutely. So what happens at a Right Royal draw-along?
Well, everybody comes along with their paper and pencils, and I sit on the stage. I talk about my books, I show them some of my stories, and then we all get drawing. And because I have a special visualizer, I can show the audience's drawings now and again as well, and so I can show them on the screen behind me. And they look fantastic.
That
visualizer.
sounds
That's
amazing.
a fancy word. In the olden days, it used to be called a. What did it used to be
Overhead
called?
projector?
Overhead projector, yes. Now they're called visualizers, and they're brilliant for artists because it means you can draw at a really comfortable size, just your normal size, instead of having to draw on a flip chart. And it comes up on a screen behind you, cinema size, so it's really a nice tool to have.
I think
I recommend
one
every
in life,
illustrator
yeah.
should have one, actually. Yeah.
Now, you called yourself an artist, but I think you need to stick the word iconic artist in front of that.
Okay, if you insist, yeah.
250 books, 10 million sales. How do you wake up every day and what do you think? Hey, I'm Nick. Hey, and I can draw amazingly.
No, I don't have time for that because I am lucky to be really busy. So I wake up and I think, oh, what have I got to do today? And which is great. But yeah, no, I've illustrated a lot of books. I think it's probably up to 260 now, in fact. Yeah,
Goodness
another 10
me.
since we last spoke. Yeah, I've been doing it for quite a while, so I've got a big library of books now.
Do you have any free time? Because it seems like you must be illustrating all the time.
Well, compared to some of my illustrator friends, I take a lot of time off. I don't work weekends, and I don't work evenings. In the past, when I was a bit younger, I would sometimes do that, but now I'm very strict about having weekends off.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I do work quite long days. I work from about 8 in the morning till about 7 at night. So, and it goes in a flash. It goes really quickly because I've always got so much to do.
Do you know, I can absolutely echo that. I'm at the start of my writing journey. I drop the little lad off at school and then the little lad off at nursery. I go home, put the kettle on, get some biscuits, start my writing, and then I've got to go and pick the one up from nursery. It's like my day just goes instantly.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I know.
I absolutely love it though. So what is your creative process? When you wake up in the morning and it's drawing time, it's not the weekend, what do you do? How do you start?
Well, I invariably have to do a few emails before I do anything at all. I shouldn't really because I just want to get on with my work, but I try and get through those. And then in the morning, when I'm much more of a morning person than an afternoon person, so if I've got to do thinking work, I try and do it as soon as I can. In fact, in an emergency situation, if I'm really, really struggling to come up with an idea, if I get up really, really early, often that's when I can sort it out.
How early is really
early?
early?
I don't know. In a dire emergency, something like 5 o'clock or something like that.
I can't function at that time.
No, I know, but you're functioning in another way at that time.
Of
You're
course.
Your brain is just in another place. So sometimes if there's something really, really difficult, I have to say I haven't done that for a long time now, but I do remember solving a few illustration problems at dawn like that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I feel that all of your drawings come from a place of brightness and happiness and excitement. What happens if you're not in that place yourself? How do you conjure that on the page?
Oh, well, yeah, it's That's a good question, actually. Sometimes peculiarly, when you're not feeling great, or when you're, a bit grumpy about doing a job, but you have to do it, it's really funny. But sometimes you get really good results from that. Sometimes, yeah. Although I think it's better to actually, be feeling good and positive. But I can remember when I was a student, I was having a miserable time when I was a student, but actually during that time I did some of my best work. I don't know, I channeled my energies into my work and forgot about my words and did some really, really good artwork.
You don't think it's anything to do with your amazing and iconic shirts? You don't think that just instills excitement?
If you saw me in my studio at home, I mean, I like to wear a shirt, a nice jolly shirt when I'm meeting children and doing events, but I slop around in a fairly disgusting state at home, I have to say. I'm always wearing slippers. I need to wear slippers. My slippers
Amazing.
are pretty tatty slippers, but I need to keep my feet warm. That's my secret, actually. Yeah, my secret is to have nice warm feet. And I read in a newspaper a while ago that a school was trying this out at school. They were getting the children to take their outdoor shoes off and put slippers on.
Wow.
And it calmed everybody down and it made everybody feel a bit more comfortable, and they got good results as a result.
Amazing. There you go. Let's try it. Let's all get slippers and be creative in our slippers. I'd like to turn the clock back just a few years to the swinging 60s when you were a wee nipper. And that's when you started to get your bug for drawing. Tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, well, I was born in 62, so I remember a little bit of the 60s. What I remember really is the pictures that I saw in the picture books that I had, and in magazine adverts, and occasionally when I went to the cinema, and on billboards, and the general graphics around, which were the ones that really attracted me, were the sort of pop art ones. I always call them the sort of Yellow Submarine type graphics.
Yes.
With a nice black graphic line, really bright, cheerful colours, and exuding a sort of joy and happiness. And I was really, really attracted to those images. And they're still my favourite kind of artwork, really. And I think that is reflected in the way that I draw myself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I was really aware of that. I can't remember when I first realised that I really liked drawing. I can't go back that far, but there's a photo of me when I was about 6, and I'm sitting in the back garden looking very happy because I've got loads of sheets of paper and I've got some paint, and I'm painting away, and it's a really nice photograph that my dad took. And I think by 6 I knew, that's what was my thing.
There were some skills, magic skills.
Well, there was a lot of enthusiasm, and also, I was very lucky because my mum and dad made sure that I had lots and lots of paper and paint and pencils, and in fact, as I got a bit older, every Christmas my mum would buy me a different sort of art material to try out, which was a really lovely thing for her to do.
That's awesome.
I remember one year at scraper board, so for a while I was really keen on the scraper board.
What a scraper board?
Scraper board. Oh, well, do you not know what scraper board is? How do you describe it? You kind of get a sheet, a pack. What I did when I was given it for Christmas, and it's kind of sheets of cards that are coated in a black paint, and you use a nib, like a pen nib, but with no ink, and you scrape away the picture, so you get a picture in reverse with a white line on a black background.
Right, amazing.
It's
you can
fun.
Still get them.
I think you can.
Yeah.
I haven't done scraperboard since I was a boy, but yes, yeah.
Oh wow!
It's really worth experimenting with different kinds of media, and
I feel that's actually. I'm not very good at art at all. I don't illustrate any of my picture books, thankfully.
Right.
We get the professionals in, but I feel that I am being quite creative when I'm doing that, because whatever you do, even if it's a scribble, it's created something on the paper that's a little bit interesting, as if I did it with my own pen. Talking about your website, there's a picture that you describe as a market square that you drew.
Yeah.
Where is this market square?
That market square is actually not a million miles from where we are now. It's in Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk.
Fantastic.
And that's where I lived between the ages of about 3 and 7. And I went to primary school. Actually, slightly convoluted because I moved around quite a lot when I was a kid. So we just moved from Bury St Edmunds to Nottinghamshire.
Yay!
And I went to a new primary school in Nottinghamshire, and one day I took in a picture which was based on my memories of Bury St Edmunds, if you follow what I'm saying.
Okay.
And in Bury St Edmunds there was a fantastic market square and a market, and I remembered it very clearly, so I drew a picture of it, and it was my best picture ever, very carefully drawn. I filled every space of the paper, I concentrated really hard, coloured it in beautifully. I was quite proud of it, so I took it into school to show my teacher, and got to hold it up in assembly, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah, amazing.
And then it was pinned up in the school hall in the special, just by itself, for a whole term.
Wow.
And that was really a pivotal moment for me, because it made me realise that I must be quite good at drawing, because, you know, only good work goes up in a school hall.
Of course it does, of course, for a month as well.
Yeah, for a whole month.
Wow.
I know, it was a real honour. So that's when I decided at 9 that was what I was going to do. I was going to be an artist, because I liked...
Amazing.
I liked the feeling it gave me to I got lots of nice feedback from teachers and from my friends as well, and from then I was like the artist, and you know, that was a role I really enjoyed. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So I found out you also illustrated. The first book was it was a poetry book, wasn't it?
My very first picture book was a poetry book. It's called Noisy Poems.
That's it, Noisy Poems.
Yeah.
And is that what started the journey? Children's illustrator is me. Yes, go.
Yeah, I did, well, after school I did a graphics course, so I learnt all about graphics, not just illustration, but I learnt about typography and a bit of photography and all general design disciplines. But it was fairly clear that I was going to be an illustrator, because I turned everything into an illustration project. And then I came out, and in those days you went around with your folio. I had an enormous folio, a sort of A1 or AO folio, a huge folio, and I knocked on all the doors of, literally knocked on the doors of the publishing houses and the magazine companies and anybody I thought might employ me.
Anybody help?
Yeah, well, exactly. No, I needed to earn a living. So for the first few years of my career, I did illustrations for magazines, mostly for magazines. And then I did a few illustrations for educational publications, particularly at Oxford University Press. They come to my degree show and they'd left me a little card. Amazing. So that's how I got to illustrate English language textbooks or maths textbooks or things like that. And then somebody from the trade department there came into the educational department and thought perhaps Nick might be quite good for a picture book, and that's how it began. So it wasn't straight into picture books, it was a kind of stepping stone
fantastic
movement.
Of course, you've not just done picture books, even though some of you've worked with the picture book greats. You've done a lot with Jacqueline and Wilson, obviously, as well.
Yeah, I guess you'd call those children's novels, and black and white illustrations. Yeah.
Do you find the process is different between a picture book and a mid-grade chapter book?
Yes, and I find the chapter books a lot harder work, actually. Yeah, I mean, even though the illustrations are much smaller and they're black and white, there are so many more of them, and a picture book, I don't know if everybody knows that, but a picture book is usually nearly always 12 spreads long, 24 pages, and that's a very manageable size to think about. But sometimes if you're illustrating a novel, it can be 200 or 300 pages long, and you've got to sustain a character probably throughout that book, draw the same person over and over again, and it's hard. It's hard work. It is hard work. I mean, it's fantastic when you achieve it, but it takes me. I think they take me longer than a picture book would to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long would you say that a picture book does take to do?
Well, it's impossible to say. It depends on the amount of work. I mean, the picture books like You Choose. My book You Choose. Which
yes,
is a very busy book, like a catalogue. Well, each of those pictures takes me weeks and weeks to prepare, and then to draw, and then to colour in. They take a long time. But other more simple books, like the books I've done, pants books, I probably give myself a day to do a rough for it, and then a day to draw it up in black and white, and then possibly a day or two to colour it in. So it's quicker. Yeah. Are
you digital or are you completely hand?
I used to be completely manual. I didn't get a computer until I'd been working for at least 15 years. So I used to draw in charcoal,
Wow.
Yeah, for the covers in particular, the early Jacqueline Wilson covers, if you look at those, they're drawn in charcoal, and the artwork is huge. It's really big, because you can't draw tiny in charcoal.
No.
Then I would fix it with fixative, which I absolutely hated doing, because it's horrible stuff to use.
It's hairspray, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's like
hairspray. And so I'd fix it, and then I would paint on top of this charcoal line. I really like the quality of the charcoal line.
Oh, okay.
But fixing it made the paper slightly resistant to water and to watercolours. So I ended up with this, by accident, with a technique which was great. I did lots of covers with it, but they gave the colours a sort of a slight, almost like a flocky sort of texture to them.
Okay.
You look at them
like
really
texture
closely.
of fabric or something.
Yeah, yes. But it was a funny old process that I developed. So I did that for a long time, and then when I finally got round to using a computer, I changed my technique, and I used to, instead of drawing an enormous picture and then having it reduced, I would draw quite a small picture using a pencil, and I'd blow it up. So I'd draw a pencil line, and then when you blow that up, you can sort of get it to a size where it looks like a charcoal line. It's got a nice texture to it.
Amazing.
And then I colour it in digitally. And I love colouring in digitally because I think I said I used lots of felt tips when I was a kid, and I just love the bright colours. And I was forever trying to colour in really smoothly and get a lovely flat, bright colour, like in the Mog book.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
And,
I read that last night actually.
Did you really?
Forgetful Cat.
Well, I was always fascinated about how did the artist get the flat colours in those, and that's what I wanted. But on a computer, it's brilliant because I can get my flat colour at last.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, no, I read Mog, the Forgetful Cat last night. The previous night is when I read Witch and Cat book, which is Meg and Mog, of course.
Yes,
and I can never say Jan's second name. How do you say it?
Pianowski,
That's
I
it.
think. I hope that's right, Jan.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely beautiful, big, bold, bright colours, just like your shirts.
Bye-bye.